Have you ever examined a patient with altered mental status, found a focal neurological deficit, and thought you knew exactly where the brain lesion was, only to have the head CT show something completely different? You might have just been fooled by a false localizing sign. If you're a psychiatry resident or medical professional dealing with complex neuropsychiatric presentations, understanding false localizing signs is absolutely critical. It can literally mean the difference between catching a life threatening brain herniation and misdiagnosing an organic brain syndrome. Let us break down what these signs are, why they happen, and the classic examples you need to commit to memory. A false localizing sign is a clinical neurological finding that strongly points to dysfunction in one specific area of the nervous system, but the actual physical lesion or pathology is located somewhere else entirely. This usually happens because of a widespread remote effect, most commonly increased intracranial pressure. When pressure builds up inside the rigid skull from a tumor, hemorrhage, or severe edema, the brain is forced to shift. This shifting stretches cranial nerves, compresses blood vessels, or pushes brain tissue against hard bony structures, creating physical symptoms that do not match the primary site of the problem. There are three classic examples you're highly likely to encounter on exams and in the emergency department. The first and most famous is the sixth cranial nerve palsy. The abducens nerve has a very long intracranial course, making it incredibly vulnerable to stretching when intracranial pressure rises. If your patient suddenly cannot abduct their eye, do not immediately assume they have a localized brainstem lesion. However, it could be generalized global swelling. The second classic example is Kernohan's notch phenomenon, which causes an ipsilateral hemiparesis. Normally, a brain lesion causes weakness on the opposite side of the body. But if a massive tumor on the right side of the brain pushes the entire brainstem to the left, it can compress the left cerebral peduncle against the tentorial edge. This causes weakness on the right side of the body, the exact same side as the original tumor. This paradoxical finding is a massive red flag for impending herniation. The third major sign is a third cranial nerve palsy. If you see a patient with a blown, dilated pupil, a drooping eyelid, and an eye resting in a down and out position, you must consider transtentorial herniation. The brain tissue is pushing down and physically crushing the oculomotor nerve. As a psychiatry resident, why does this matter to you? Because patients with expanding intracranial mass lesions often present first with psychiatric symptoms like personality changes, depression, or acute psychosis, along with headaches or vomiting. If you notice these neurological signs during your physical exam, you must realize the localization might be inconsistent, maintain a high clinical suspicion for mass effect, and order urgent neuroimaging. Never write off altered mental status as purely psychiatric if these signs are present. If you found this clinical breakdown helpful for your medical training, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more high-yield neuropsychiatry content, and let me know in the comments which neurological sign you want me to cover next.